It is now time to start the series between OpTic Gaming and Tempo Storm in this best out of 3 to see who will qualify for the major for a chance at the $1 million prize pool happening later on this year. I'm Van Silly. Along with me, it's going to be Sprawl. First map on train with Tempo Storm starting off on the CT side and OpTic Gaming on the T side, and also playing on OpTic Gaming's map choice.
Indeed, and again, like they talked about on the desk, OpTic has been a tear on this map. So we'll see. Tempo Storm, definitely a very formidable opponent, to say the least. And on a map like this, very op-heavy, you got the likes of Henny. Showtime's been looking good, but right into the pistol round, we're going to see OpTic Gaming already sending Mixwell very aggressively out towards Ivy.
Oh yeah, there's actually 3 guys already out there. Stanislaw is also in the ladder room. They're going to try to pinch in towards the Ivy as well, where Phelps and Henny are currently playing so far. Mixwell holding towards that hell in case somebody pushes out, but we're just playing that high-low tower just at the nook of the alleyway. Nafly, though, comes in, gets a double kill, and that's a huge opening for OpTic Gaming now. Bolts in the back, trying to retaliate with that silence USB. Meanwhile, the bomb has been planted at a default spot now, and we do have actually a great post positioning setup for OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, OpTic in good position to take this T-pistol round. Russian Daps able to find heads, and now it's only Showtime, and he falls to Naf. Naf with a triple kill, and he was able to deal that boost towards Ivy. That was an interesting stack we saw there to try and peer into the outside yard, but Naf just destroys it as he comes through Ivy.
Yeah, actually, one of the players that was stacked, actually the player that was under, was still looking out towards that ladder room. So he was waiting for that fight against Stanislaw. So he caught one off guard. I think he was even the first one that died. So when the first one is dead, you're pretty much dropping with the one on the top. Maybe the aim wasn't really there, and it was easier for Nafly to get those 2 kills. But great opening for them to start things off. 1-0 scoreline as we're playing very passively for OpTic Gaming, expecting a push. And indeed, they'll read him like a book. Stanislaw is going to drop the first with the Galil, and Showtime will be forced to fall back inside B.
Yeah, so Tempo again forcing outside of Henny as he wants to get that op in the first rifle round, but everybody else with equipment. Daps, the long-range MAC-10 headshot. Nice work from him, and they're going to continue on here. A little bit of damage on Mixwell, but otherwise they are looking pretty safe to complete this round as Henny has got a teammate with him towards Ivy, but that's Phelps going down. And now it's a 2-on-5, and OpTic can survive without losing a single member, considering this was a force buy from the CT side. This is very impressive. So Henny now left on 9 hit points.
Yeah, I think it was only small pistols. Actually, no, you're right. Henny didn't go, only went for a pistol, no armor, so he could save for the AWP.
Yeah.
But this is interesting so far. I mean, this is 2 rounds where Tempo Storm don't have a single kill. On the other end of the spectrum, OpTic Gaming, this is the second time that they were able to push somebody towards that hell side, and nobody was watching it, so they actually gave a huge opening for Daps. The previous round was Mixwell to support on Naf in case Naf can get the kills towards Ivy. So it'll be interesting to see when we actually get towards those gun rounds. If they're actually leaving that gap, there's a lot of opening for OpTic Gaming to take over this outside bomb site every single time.
So again, on the anti-eco, we'll see full USPs on the field. Mixwell getting aggressive towards Decon, already dealing a lot of damage in Lucas's direction, and flash out for them to attempt to actually take A yet again. A couple frags going their way for the OpTic side, and Tempo. Yeah, if they don't find a single frag throughout these 3 rounds, that's something that you don't see every day from a team like this. Henny finally drops 1, so will be his first frag here. So it's Henny and Bolts to try and get some more damage dealt.
Yeah, we finally broke the ice. Last guy picking up that MAC-10 left behind from Daps, but gets nothing out of that. That was Bolts. So 3 unanswered rounds for OpTic Gaming. Now, the good thing about this is Henny didn't buy anything on that second round, so he'll be able to afford that AWP, small armor, and some utilities to help. But you're looking at the rest of the players for Tempo Storm. They were forced pretty much with, they had no kills, which means they have no money moving into this gun round for more utilities. So none of them actually have kits. So they're going to have to actually play for those setups in the trades to try to get this round. But if not, they're going to be back in a broke situation.
Yeah, definitely. And like you had stated, $300 for a kill. It's a smoke. It's quite a bit of equipment as they do pile up. But moving into this round, again, Henny with that AWP off towards Ivy. And OpTic, this is a chance to, this is the next hurdle. If they can find themselves 4-0 on the T side of train, of course, that is it's a fantastic start to a fairly CT-sided map here as Phelps peeking towards ladder. He does spot out Mixwell. A little bit of damage dealt to him, but Mixwell not shying away, still peeking heavily at a ladder. And it looks like they might try. There's a one way that you can kind of boost in ladder and try and peer over it. I thought Mixwell was going to go for that, but it looks like he will just head on back up. And and Execute potentially being lined up here.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be towards the outside. You want to try to steal that fake inner first. That's why Mixwell went for that jump peek at the lower ramp. But here comes the smokes on the outside, and to get the first kill onto Phelps at the ladder room. Mixwell is going to rotate back from inner to go outside towards that ladder, and that bomb actually is walking back inner. So I guess they still had a lurker up at the upper ramp. Indeed, that was Daps. And as he sees nothing peeking up towards that upper ramp, they're going for a high-low split. So Showtime's going to be caught playing this defense on his own. He spots the first one here, but the spray does not connect. Nafly comes up on top with 5 HP remaining, and Mixwell gets the op shot onto Bolts. So pretty much the Z-shaped hallway is covered right now for OG with the bomb plant, 5 versus 2. And now, for sure, you'll see these last two guys attempt to save their guns. Now, how interesting is that? 4 rounds in, they have 1 kill in total for the Brazilian team, so the green wall holds strong so far.
Yeah, incredible performance early, and I feel like if OpTic is going to take this best of 3, they really need to just keep the momentum on their side. Tempo is the kind of team that I was talking to Dead about it earlier, in that the first time I witnessed them on LAN was back at Win Outland Wade last September, and they were able to compete against top teams, but they got really worried, and their emotions came into play a lot. They've grown a ton since then, but they're still a team that is a little emotional at times, so if you can maybe get in their heads, then this would be the way to do it. Again, not a lot of frags going their way in a very CT-sided map. OpTic 4-0 and quite the economy to boot.
Yeah. Now they're able to save 1 AWP. We're trying to see if they're going to give it to Showtime or to Henny. They'll give it to Henny at this point. The reason why I'm saying if you're going to go back and forth between these two players is because when they faced off against their last opponent for Tempo Storm, and we saw them actually on that cash slide, Showtime was on fire with AWP, and Hen1 even at some points just started to use a rifle instead towards the end of the half. So they do have a lot of options right now in terms of coverage, in terms of holding the outside bomb site with AWPs, and there you go. Henny gets the first kill. On to Rush. We're still trying to capitalize here as he's opping towards the Ivy side. Lucas on the bomb train on his own, spots one here, but does not connect that deagle shot. Forced to fall back a little bit as we have this forced pistol buy for the rest of Temple Storm.
Phelps coming up on the flank. This could be massive. He's coming up behind Mixwell, so he spots him out. He's trying to take his time here, and he will eventually find the frag. Takes a little longer than he may have hoped, but still, he gets out of there safely, and all the attention of the T's are now focused back towards Ticon, and Showtime shows up as he takes down Stan. Naf back at him, now 2-on-2.
This is a pretty good 2 versus 2. Actually, pretty good force buy for Temple Storm. Leaving it on 2 versus 2 when they're actually stuck towards that towards the hell side, and the Opera's going to be able to take him down. And Henny is actually going to win it for the team at 3K with the AWP, and Temple Storm puts it up on the scoreboard. And what I found interesting as well was that Showtime didn't really buy anything at all either. I was assuming if they actually lost this round, they would probably go for a double op setup. But Henny just saved it for the team, and he's going to be able to salvage an AK on top of that to give them a chance to just save a little bit more money into the next round.
So Henny heating up here on 4 frags, which in the 6th round, you maybe expect a little more. But again, 3 very impactful ones in that last round, and we'll see if he can continue here as Mixwell showed up towards Ticon. Fire at his feet, but not quite burning as we'll hop on through it. Flash is trying to deter OpTic from coming out middle, but Mixwell, again, furthering his aggression here. Lined up towards Ivy. You can see Phelps is on top of that Ivy train. Henny just peering down that Ivy lane, but it's Phelps to find the frag on a Mixwell, and the op is out of the equation for OpTic.
Never expected that guy on top of that 6 train. That is Phelps on that green outside, if you guys are talking about CSGO terms. But on that 6 train, I mean, what I like about Mixwell so far is that he's not afraid to bring that fight over to Henny. He's been confident with his AWPs. He's been landing those shots, and he wants to actually overpower and not give that confidence back for Temple Storm, because he already had that clutch. You already had Henny get those 3 kills with the AWP. If you're able to stop him dead on right after and reset the money for some of the players moving into this round here, you bring the momentum back into OpTic Gaming. But at this point, they lost the Opper, so the 4 riflers will try to attempt the inner bomb site.
Here we go. 40 seconds to get it done as OpTic 4-on-5. They will be deterred via an incendiary on the lower ramp, but time is ticking away, and the that is not the smoke they intended to throw at all. That was supposed to give them coverage, but instead it literally, they gifted the round to Tempo, more or less. That bow tie and all, they smoked themselves off and run through it.
Yeah, there was already the initial smoke at the bottom of that ramp. I think they were trying to throw it a little bit further out so they could just maybe try to run through. But now they're forced to run through their own mistake, like the smoke that they missed through. And it was actually easier for Showtime. He actually held the angle on the left side of that bomb train, and it just ran out one by one. And he just easy pickings for Showtime, getting a 3K out of that with a salvaged AK-47. Tempo Storm slowly coming back into this matchup on the CT side. But let's not discount anything for OpTic Gaming yet. I mean, they've won 4 rounds out of 6 on T side, no matter what. So things are looking very strong. But if Tempo Storm continues this way, they're looking good to actually even catch up and go for the comeback and win this first map. But too early to speak about it as of yet.
See OpTic very spread out in this round. We've got Naf with a Tech 9 towards Ivy. Rush here inside of the ladder area. And Phelps looking to get aggressive. He's at least going to hold either side of the smoke here. Okay, he's going to drop another smoke. Forward one and a flat. Okay, that was just an HE grenade. That was interesting. All right, well, Phelps just, again, hanging on to that position. Naf going for some spam, but just a slow round here from OpTic thus far as, again, they are very much spread out.
Yeah, Phelps, the way that he's holding it, he still has an incendiary grenade if he wants to throw another one here to try to run that clock down, forcing OpTic Gaming on a very slow take on the outside or a last-minute desperate take where they could actually cheat some players over like Garrett was saying before, but he was talking about how OpTic Gaming had to actually try to win this round. But so far it's going to be Henny on the top of that 6 train. We'll be able to get that op kill, and we will get finally that execution from OpTic Gaming on the outside bomb side, but Lucas holds it strong with his teammates, so the brother's going to work. Daps finally opens it up, but his teammates are slowly falling behind him. It's only him and Mixwell remaining with 24 seconds left on the clock. Mixwell finally connects onto Bolts, and he looks back on top of the heaven. Just a missed timing there, but still lands that shot. Now the last man standing, but Henny's still alive and well and strong. And when we saw that none of the kills actually happened for Temple Storm right now, Sprawl, at the beginning of this matchup, now all the kills and all the guys that are always alive are Showtime and Henny.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, even moving in or looking at the last series, that was actually on Cobblestone at least, very similar situation. But I want to credit Phelps there. He was holding Ivy. He gets headshot, so he's sent down to 10 hit points. But the communication was good enough that Bolts took his spot. He flies up to heaven and then finds another frag from there. Finally goes down, but still, he was impactful in that he got a second frag. Someone else showed up to his previous position with full hit points, and of course that causes a little confusion on the OpTic side as they were hoping to get a lit player towards Ivy. Not the case, as Tempo now 3 rounds for themselves in OpTic. Looks like we're going to see attempted bomb plant towards B.
Yeah, so they're slowly chipping onto this wall, and it's going to be Showtime going to work again with help from Bolts and Phelps on the backup from the back of the inner bomb site. So they already dropped the bomb carrier. Rush is going to be the last man standing with the Deagle, and Showtime's just going to go on a hunt. I think he was pop flash for him to move in. So that's 4 unanswered rounds, and OpTic Gaming on that round that we just saw had to go on a save. So what was an amazing start for them, their economy was pretty much gone going into this one, especially when they lost that force buy from Tempo Storm on that 4th.
Yeah.
So now they at least have enough because they have the bonus on their side now. But still, Mixwell will have that AWP, and let's see if they could actually turn it back.
See where he decides to go here, as looks like T-Con, his destination, and Naf headed over towards Ivy. Showtime aggressively peeks towards B, and he takes enough damage that Daps Molotov that they like to throw there to prevent some sort of op peek or that exact peek from Showtime. It is effective, so OpTic now at the player advantage. Tempo, can they bring it back here? Bolts playing solo at the inner bomb site. Phelps, he's going to drop a smoke. This is so smart. He drops a smoke, but he's on the forward side of it. Oh, he eats a flash, though, and that's actually going to render his retreat. But still, like those kind of mind games where you drop the smokes behind yourself, and of course you're in an aggressive spot. But still 4 on 5 as Tempo. See if they can find some way to bring this advantage back.
Yeah, this is what they needed for OpTic Gaming. A good start for a kill onto Showtime. As we mentioned, the key player is staying alive every single round, have been heading in Showtime. So to stop that momentum from these 2 players, maybe turn things around finally for OpTic Gaming, but they still have Henny to try to overpower on this outside bomb site, as looks like we're going for that 2-2-1 split. So 2 out T-Con, 2 out ladder, 1 outside the alleyway, and it's going to be Henny still staying alive with an op kill. Make that a second one onto Daps. Snapfly finally moves out, but he gets instantly op by Hen1. And it is now going to be a 1 versus 1 remaining. Can Stanislaw get it done? He does have the bomb on his back. and he has 25 seconds left on the clock, and great flash on the run inside. Bolt still thinks that it's actually towards that 5 train, but he still has a great position to go in on easy rotation at the Z. But Stanislav just basically booked it, is going to plant at the default spot. But Bolts is already rotated across, so Stanislav at this point made it out, actually. Oh, but he spots his feet. He's down at 29 HP, 28 HP. Bolts does have a flash still to work with.
Taps the bomb here.
Full defuse.
And it looks like he's just going to be sticking it, and Stanislav.
Pros don't fake!
Yeah, and I don't blame Stan. Like, analysts will talk about this all the time, and that in a situation like that, when you are so low, the amount of times that there is the fake and the amount of times that you're going to get just one bullet that kills you, Stan just tries to test him, but, well, like you had stated, they're not faking it.
So now at this point, things are looking quite rocky for OpTic Gaming now. As from that bomb plan, at least, they will have enough money to go for another full buy on top of the bonus money. So 3,400 plus that 800, you'll have, once again, an AWP in the hands of Mixwell. In this setup, a little bit more different for Temple Storm. They're actually forcing more defense towards that alley side. And they're going to be watching that ladder room from Ivy as well. So they still have a pretty good D going on. And they're also forcing Bolts to play towards that Z-shaped hallway for that fast rotation.
Phelps just spots out Mixwell towards T-Con, and I don't know if it would be a good idea. Oh, excellent flash, actually. I was going to say it would be worrying if he repeaked, but with that kind of flash pushing Mixwell off, not a bad idea as Phelps looking to get more aggressive. As there is 2 players waiting for him. What a shot from Mixwell. Tears off the head of Phelps, so another player advantage here for OpTic. Can they make it work as, again, still 4 rounds on the board, Tempo with a lot of momentum.
Great job for Mixwell to open things up. So Phelps is down, and it's also thanks to Daps that he tried to throw some sort of a fake towards that inner side, so they wasted a molly out. They rotated back out, but now they're pretty much on their toes. With him rotating back on the outside from that Mixwell pick, there's only one guy playing inner, and that's going to be Showtime, and that's exactly where OpTic Gaming are going to decide to attack. And it's going to be an upper and lower split with 3 guys at the lower ramp. Rush is going to keep him busy and giving away his position as well. So Daps is in a great angle to take this kill, but Showtime's going to say no and take the top of that. At least they'll be able to get a bomb plant. Showtime moving back out, gets the dink, trying to line up the second kill, but it's going to be Stanislav saving his bomb carrier. Now Lucas, Henny, and Bolts. Bolts falling from the hands of Nafly. Lucas down to 18 HP. It's safe to say here that it should be OpTic Gaming's round. Mixwell capitalizing with another op kill. Last one to go. Will attempt to save his AWP, and that is going to be Henny moving all the way back towards CT spawn. Looking at their money situation, it should be fine moving into another gun round here. But it's going to be 5-5. A great execution for OpTic Gaming.
Definitely, and this is one of the reasons why you really want to take pistol on a map like this, as again, 4 rounds at the moment for OpTic, and they've been having problems with rifle rounds, and moving into this next round, there is such a buffer that Tempo, they can get another full rifle round in. So to string rounds together at this point in the half, it's so much harder for the T side. So OpTic, that's fantastic that they are at that 5-5 scoreline. Pistol meant a lot for them.
And with the amount of rounds that we've won so far for Temple Storm, we're going to opt for a double AWP setup. And it's actually going to be in the hands of Phelps instead of Showtime. So there's a lot of versatility in terms of what weapons they can handle here for Temple Storm. So basically 2 secondary operas they could use, and it's going to be an aggressive push for OpTic Gaming on the outside. But this time, like I said, what's different here is that they don't have that much of that hell control like they did on that first and second round, but Mixwell is still going to work with the AWP, opens up, is about to go for this 3rd kill with the flick shot, misses, but Bolts is forced to fall back at the old bomb trade. Meanwhile, his teammates are still falling, and that was Henny, I think, that was at the top. Now Showtime's that Z-shaped hallway, and Rush and Dabs just stops them.
Yeah, Bolts not able to get a good hold of his spray control there, and that's a massive round. As we can see, that buffer, that luxury of another buy, it's now gone, and the eco round underway. OpTic, they're going to have quite the T side here, and that's excellent news for them. Again, coming into this series, you'd paint them as a bit of an underdog, but Train has definitely looked like a great map for them, and they're continuing their success. So they can take this one already up to 7, and being it's a fairly CT-sided map, nice nade there from Naf onto Phelps, and Phelps is having a bad time right now. He's been playing trying to pick kind of Mixwell towards that T-Con area. He didn't even have that op like you had stated in the last round, but he gets off by Mixwell, and Mixwell actually ends up just tearing up that bomb site, but Showtime left alone and not a single frag. So OpTic, now it's their turn to build the buffer as you see Naf with 3 frags there.
Yeah, not only that, he gets 3 kills with the MP7. He had enough money to go for an AK buy if he wanted to, but I think what we're trying to call for Stanislaw, maybe we'll have to ask him a little bit later, is to say, well, we know the money economy, the situation of Tempo Storm. They're going to be on some sort of a save. It could be a stack. So let's have one of our guys, the entry fragger, Nafly, get an MP7, try to scout the area around. He does have support from Daps at the ladder room, but if not, he's just going to storm and scout it out to see if there's a stack somewhere. Then they'll use the rifles to work the opposite bomb site or even overpower them right after. So a good round for OpTic Gaming. Nafly even a better job for staying alive. This round here, though, we're getting trades on the T-Con, and Lucas gets a double kill, including the bomb carrier, but it quickly gets traded back and forth.
Indeed it does. Naf towards Ivy here. Henny peeks out, takes him down. Rush now in a 1v3. And he had to note no kits in this round. Not that it's looking to make a difference, but again, Tempo was a little strap went for all that utility and such, and well, Henny will finish it off. So back to their winning ways. But again, if you're OpTic, the damage has kind of been done in some respect. Even if it did end 8-7, which they do have that luxury for a buy. I think they all had like 8K post buy after that last round. So living the dream in that respect, and moving into this next round, they definitely have a chance to further their scoreline.
So we really want Mixwell to step up again and get those entries that he did before. I mean, he's only 8-6, but the kills that he's gotten have been crucial for OpTic Gaming to win these gun rounds. So if they're able to stop this again, Tempo Storm is going to be back on a save, and look how aggressively it's starting. They're already dropping down towards that lower area, trying to take control of Showtime first, but as soon as they don't see him, that's where things are going to get slow again, and you might see them try to rotate back to work towards the outside. It's only been like a few seconds remaining when they were trying to go back and get this kill. So you really have, right now, one lurking towards that top, which is going to be Daps at the upper ramp. If he gets this kill into Showtime, they'll execute inner. If they don't, you maybe start seeing them work back towards the outside, because you still have 2 guys from the T just holding down any pushes from Ivy and from T-Con.
It was an interesting Molotov. I think it was Daps that did specifically throw it, and he flushed out Showtime like I thought he wanted to, but didn't peek behind it at all. So that Molotov just, well, sits and burn. A nice campfire for the B bomb site player on the CT side. Showtime, we'll see OpTic looking to commit to this A bomb site. Lucas up in that CT heaven area, able to find one. Henny with the next, and already a 3-on-5 OpTic. I don't have a lot of time, but there's an entry from Mixwell. Yeah,
they missed that molly, but at least Mixwell was there to get that op kill. Evens it up on a 4-4 tally. Actually, Hen 1 is still going to work with the op. I just looked at it. It's actually a 4-on-2 situation now. It's Daps and Mixwell. The bomb is down. 30 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to try to work a little bit quicker. At least try to get 2 kills before attempting to get the bomb. That smoke's about to dissipate as well, so it's going to be even harder and harder for them to hold it. Mixwell gets the first, tries to go for a flick shot, but it's going to get stopped there. 7-7 is going to be the score moving into the last round of the first half. We'll have a full gun round for both teams.
So here we go. As if you're Tempo, you desperately want this 8th round. It's not an 8-7 kind of map. Talking about the standard score lines that we see on it. So OpTic, they've got to be very confident at this point. Just keep playing your game, and we're moving into the favored side. Yeah, Tempo, of course, they're going to have things to show on their T side. But if OpTic can continue having Mixwell hitting the shots that he has been, and that could be the difference maker as Rush very quick towards ladder, and looks like they have a lot of presence towards there as Mixwell already out mid.
Lucas gets one nice crossfire with bolts as well, but quickly evened out on a 3-3 situation with Rush and Stanislaw capitalizing on those kills. Henny, one of the rare shots that he's missed when the T's are dropping up towards, or climbing up towards that ladder at CT Heaven. The bomb has been planted, but it's now a 3 versus 2. Rush trying to stay towards that hell side, and it's been a momental area for OpTic Gaming. And Mixwell gets that kill, so it's a 2 versus 1. Can Henny actually get this clutch? I don't know why Mixwell's dropping down, but he puts it on a 1 versus 1 situation. Henny now picks up the AK-47, still has so many utilities to work with. He's going to go for the smoke diffuse, the spray. He's going to run back out towards that smoke. And finally, Rush is going to be able to get those that kill and end the half 8-7, which actually was a close call, because when Henny saw that all those bullets were actually getting whiffed by Rush, he's like, all right, I'll just turn around and pick up the bomb, because it doesn't seem that he has his crosshair set up to actually go for this spray if I try to go for the defuse. But luckily enough bullets in the AK of Rush to win this round back for OpTic Gaming. So 8-7 in this first half. Can't really complain about OpTic Gaming's performance, although they've lost 5 rounds in a row since that pistol force buy from Temple Storm.
Yeah, indeed. There was a nice string, which it almost looked like Tempo was going to finish like 11-4 or something, and that was going to be the only bit of rounds OpTic got. But again, talking about Mixwell, those entries that he was able to eventually find with the AWP coming out T-connector, and I'm wondering if you could be a little critical on Phelps. He was playing on top of the 6 train, or I call it Ivy train again. He played there quite often, and he was trying to play it tricky-like, but he was caught out enough that maybe that was an adjustment that needed to be made. But Mixwell, he was loving it.
Yeah, I mean, it all happens. I mean, the first time he actually got the kill onto Mixwell from that from 6 train onto T-Con, Mixwell was actually looking to opt towards that Ivy to bring that fight against Henny. So you see how Mixwell gets to adapt the way that he wants to entry towards the outside, and he's been that key player that actually gives a chance for OpTic Gaming to take out the outside bomb site. I think aside from that, though, we're switching sides. Now you're going to have Henny that's going to be moving towards the op on T side. But with the way that Mixwell's been opping so far, when he's going to have to play positional ops on the CT side, I think it's still going to be a tougher fight right now for Temple Storm.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and again, not to discredit Henny, he's an excellent T-side opper, but Mixwell is just playing so sound that it's going to be difficult. And like we had stated, this is not a standard score line. So we're going to have to see a lot of work done by Tempo on their T side. And if they can't get pistol, there's some momentum built up on that CT side. We saw what happened to OpTic once Tempo was able to get a bit of a foothold and an economy going. Luckily, OpTic was eventually able to force another save, and hence the beautiful scoreline they ended with. But it really can be a terrifying situation if you drop pistol and then first rifle round doesn't go your way. It's a difficult thing to come back from. So,
and I mean, another turning point for how Temple Storm starting to get that momentum was that round where they messed up that smoke from OpTic Gaming side towards that lower ramp.
Great point.
I think that was so much money invested for them to try to run through, and that I think that's the round when they lost. They actually had to go on a save right after because they had an AK set up trying to run down that ramp, and then you actually finally saw Temple Storm starting to come back. But now we're finally live on this second half. We'll see now if Temple Storm could actually retaliate here on this pistol round on T side now. You can see from the scoreboard, really, it's been the Hen 1 and the Hen 1 show actually for Temple Storm. But if not for Mixwell, he's kind of mid-fragging, and you still have a lot going on for Nafly and Daps. Can't discredit how those two players have also been playing on the T side.
So we got a raid boss in Lucas. He's been dropped to Tech 9 here. We'll see if he can find some success. As the setup currently, they got two towards T-Con, some ladder presence here, and eventually we will see a bit of a smoke execute here. Stan, though, nice shot. Looks off the head of Phelps early. Lucas, that's not the range that is most effective, obviously, with that Tech 9. So Stan able to tap him away. Bolts eventually trades back. So does Henny, but Mixwell coming up and creating a 2-on-3. Bolts very low here.
Bolts is actually able to play towards that health side. That's been crucial for OpTic Gaming. Let's see if he can turn things around for Temple Storm. But that clock is slowly ticking down. There's still a lot of time to work with. It's on the back of Showtime, who's going to try to maybe go for this plant. He does have a Tech 9 with no armor, so things are not actually looking too well for Temple Storm in this post-plant situation. We're moving up. Nice shot here from Bolts, trying to connect on that second one. Puts Nafly down to 40 HP. And the raid, or not the raid, but the Tech 9 comes in, evens it up on a 1 versus 1. And can Bolts actually win this with 3 HP? Mixwell has no idea where he's at. He's still looking back towards Bomb Train in hell. He doesn't know that his opponent's towards the top. The head's popping up. He gets the kill. Yeah, he's going to be able to come in and get that defuse. That was so close. I mean, it was a great round for both teams, must I say, because OpTic Gaming, the way they played it, they actually had 4 guys stacked on the outside, and Daps was actually watching inner from way back in that 3 train, so he could rotate quickly on the Z-shaped hallway to support on the outside and just basically scout the inner. If he actually saw a push from Tempo Storm inner, then he just waits for his teammates to come in and they'll play a retake B. But now Tempo Storm, the way that it worked on the outside, Bolts actually bought that smoke and utilities needed for them to execute on the outside. So at least they get a bomb plant, they get 4 kills, they force a lot of money on the buys for OpTic Gaming this round here, but on their side they're playing it safe, just going for pistols.
Yeah, we will see that save. Bolt's going to be rushing out first. If they could get a second bomb plant, of course, that would be fantastic moving into the next round here. But it's not looking like it'll be a reality. Daps on the flank, and wow, rush USPS headshot. Flawless round coming out from the OpTic side, and it's great news. And again, that's that economic buffer that the CT side, once it's built up, it's so difficult to break.
I mean, this is the type of round for OpTic Gaming that Garrett's going to love. I mean, the SMGs that they buy are 2 MP9s and a UMP. It shreds through no armor of the terrorist team trying to push on the outside. You build up a lot of economy. Mixwell has enough to go for an AWP. And the ones that actually bought submachine guns actually keep them in their hands. So we'll see if they can actually hold it on the outside with them this time.
That would be very financially good for them if they could, as we'll see OpTic able to find 2, and very damaged are the remaining members here of Tempo. Showtime with 1, but it's now him in a 1v3. He's got Stanislaw very low, but Mixwell, that'll be his second on the round, and OpTic, that was a huge round to pick up. You see Stanislaw able to upgrade to an AK, Daps on a Galil, but still better than, I think he was on one of the MP9s or something to that effect. So you get an upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. It's MP9s, UMPs. They're able to win that round thanks to that. I think Stanislaw is the one with the UMP. They get those kills. They force Tempo Storm back on a save. Now it's going to be 7-11. People are going to go crazy in the chat. But now Tempo Storm is going to be back on a save. And they still have SMGs to work with to keep building that economy. Look at that. It's 2 MP9s they kept from the previous round. They pick up a Galil and an AK. They basically spend no money in this round, only on utilities. So they're going to be looking good economically into the next round or two at least, if this keeps up.
Daps is going to be playing this lower ramp. He does have the help of Mixwell way back in the back of the bomb site. So even if they are allowed to kind of cross out a bit, Daps with 1. Doesn't look like Mixwell was able to get anything done, but Stanislaw with the HE grenade to do the work. Daps following it up. It's now only Showtime and Henny. Got the bomb plan, so that's successful in that regard, but still no frags in this round for the T side, and well, flawless round in the form of no casualties for OpTic.
I think this is the 4th time as well that OpTic Gaming are able to win a round with no casualties. So that economy still keeps climbing up. And now Flying Rush still keeping their MP9s. And now at this point, the mission was successful, at least for Tempo Storm. They went for a full-out rush inner. They only went with pistols, no armor. They just wanted to get a bomb plant to finally build that economy. This is the first real gun round for Tempo Storm, but still a big challenge is if they win this one and they actually lose a lot of players, they're going to force some drops in the next round, and OpTic Gaming healthy in the bank. They could reset it back for Tempo Storm, so they still have their backs up against the wall is what I'm trying to say here for TS.
And we'll see Henny with the first pick, so nice work there. As Daps taking a little bit of damage via that HE grenade. Stanislaw close to T-Con. Tempo just slow round thus far, and now with that player advantage. It's looking good for them. Rush is aggressive towards ladder. He's got a smoke for T-Con that'll allow Stan to actually probably peer over it, to be honest. I think he was climbing up on that close train, but they want to drop down ladder. Again, considering the weaponry, Rush, that is the angle that you would like to play with an MP9 if you're going to play any. But we'll see. Henny, with that op, is the only person watching ladder. And that's, well, again, if Rush flies up, that should be an easy shot. But I'm wondering, Henny, does he have support? Yeah, Lucas will eventually, I think, let him successfully come down ladder as Rush finds 2, make it a third with the MP9. And that is how effective that can be. Quad kill on the round as he picks up the fallen AWP and bolts. He's got to skip on away. 4 hit points on him.
That is $1,800 and an op kill, so that's $1,900, a 4K.
Just insane.
A chance as well for OpTic Gaming to go for a double op setup in the next round by, again, spending barely nothing in the past 4 rounds. And interesting enough, look at that. Mixwell is picking up the MP9, sorry, and he's actually going to go on a hunt against bolts, so they're going to try to clear it out.
Yeah,
Smarter move right now is maybe wait for that 0 marker. But Mixwell is just going to take him.
Yeah,
he's going to try to take the AK, and he
like, please?
won't be able to.
Sad times. Still a couple gaps in these maps where you can have just weapons fall through. No fun. But won't be a massive deal. It's such a huge round from Rush.
Yeah.
Holding that location, again, I highlighted how that would be the most effective place to play with it. The fact that he takes down Phelps first towards T-Con, flicks back to those players at ladder. They know that call. The call's been made that the players at ladder, he just is able to take them down as they drop. So beautiful work from Rush, and now we see a double op setup for the CT side.
Yeah, because I was talking about a money reset for Tempo Storm if they actually won that previous round. but they lost it. They'll have the bonus money. They're going to go for a force buy here. So they have a scout and a Galil to work with. So less of firepower for the sniper here. Henny's going to have to try to open it up with a scout. All 5 of them are stacked up here inside the brown holes, trying to work down inner slowly. And they're going to try to go for possibly a boost later on to try to pick up towards that window side. That's something that's new towards Train that gives him a chance to execute. But looks like Henny is just set up for these 2 guys, Phelps and Lucas, to just run down towards this lower ramp and execute right after. It's going to be a full-out battle. Daps is fully blinded. He's going to be able to get this first kill onto Lucas, but he whiffed a lot of shots to start, so it's going to get easily traded out by Phelps. That molly is going to be a little bit too far back for them to try to prevent that bomb plant, but they're already so close on this retake. Mixwell is still going to work, Stanislaw as well, and it's looking so good on this retake so far. Finally, Henny gets something done with that scout as he picks up Mixwell on top of that smoke, trying to jump on top of that 3 train. But it's a 3 versus 2 situation. They do have a guy on high, a guy on low, so they're looking okay, but still better cover from OG onto the retake rather. And now it's going to be 14-7 in favor of OpTic Gaming, and finally we see how Tempo Storm finally has a challenge in their minor.
Yeah, no doubt. OpTic really showing up on Train here, and they're now double the scoreline. We are going to see a pause coming in, and if you're Tempo, I'm curious, what is the answer here? What is the solution to this problem? We've talked about it plenty of times throughout this event, coming back and bringing it round for round, but this is just more than difficult at this point. So much money on OpTic. It's not like they win one round and they can kind of force a save and then kind of build up. There's a lot of money to take away from OpTic.
Yeah, it was basically a huge turnover point on the CT side for OpTic when Rush was able to get that trip kill with the MP9. The first one being mid-range as well. From ladder all the way to T-Con, you know, it's kind of accurate, but the armor pen is not that good either. So for him to be able to get that kill and have enough bullets to get a double kill right after, that was pretty sick for Rush in terms of the control. But then you're looking back at it, I mean, the only time where they had something really successful for the T side for Tempo Storm is that last round where they finally had a good execution by by executing those smokes through the top of that window, open up that gap, smoke also towards that pop dog for them to move down towards that inner bomb site and get the plant. But again, they only had a scout in the hands of Hen, or Henny rather, and then also I think it was a Galil that they had in the purchase as well in that gun round. So they didn't have the full firepower. They didn't have all the utilities to work with after as well. I think Phelps only had a flash and a smoke. So if they had a little bit more in terms of like investing on those mollies to try to prevent those diffuses mid rounds or at the on the retake, trying to prevent those for the CTs, they might be able to turn things around. But so far, it's just been a huge uphill battle for Tempo Storm just because they've been losing against so many submachine guns buys from OpTic Gaming.
And again, we'll still see that double op setup here. Or I assume so. Actually, where did Mixwell's op go? I really don't know, but I assume he'll buy one.
Yeah, or it's probably on the floor or something right now. I mean,
yeah, maybe someone just dropped it in his direction. I'm uncertain, but still, that double op setup is going to be very, very difficult to work against. Again, Henny, credit to him that he's a beast. There's no doubt, but this is a map that CT side opping should be the favored op in theory, especially which, of course, plenty of casters talked about it a ton, that op changed way back when now, where you can't just peek out scoped in. You really got to be quick scoping if you want to actually 1v1 versus another opera. So very difficult to get that going. But Tempo, I imagine we're going to see some sort of maybe default into a smoke execute where they are just going to, they're going to pick their best strat and try and make it work. But OpTic, they might have their number here on Train.
Well, the thing is, the analysts in this pregame are right. I mean, GB James and Garrett saying they've lost Peacemaker. Now they at least have LG Dead. LG Dead is there to support, maybe to coach a little bit. He's been a strong supporter for Tempo Storm, a strong supporter for LG, even a strong supporter for Winout that are currently here as well. Unfortunately, Winout have been eliminated, but they don't have somebody to try to explain an execution mid-round. So far, it's been this pretty much one type of strategy. It's going to be try to execute and try to hit that site. If they lose 2 or 3 players on fakes or something like that, that's it. They don't have anything else inside their sleeves to try to win the round and try to turn it over. So OpTic Gaming on the CT side have been pretty much on point. I mean, they haven't lost a single round on CT so far. We're resuming this right now, and Showtime's already fallen. And this timeout, this is going to be demoralizing for Temple Storm. They already lost 3, and this is almost going to be the 5th or 6th time that OpTic Gaming are going to win this without a casualty. And look at that shot from Mixwell.
I think he caught Phelps jumping at E-Box too. Phelps went for a cute, like...
We're back.
A cute right click. Yeah, what? I don't know what... Yeah, we are here, and well, as, again, Mixwell hitting that shot. Phelps, I believe, again, he was midair. So, beautiful stuff for Mixwell, as we have been crediting him. He's on 20 frags right now, Rush on 21. And Tempo moving into this potentially last round. They've got Tech-9s to work with and a bunch of nades. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Mixwell was a little bit more quiet, getting those key kills, key entries for the T side, but CT's has been an important player, rather. Couldn't find my word there, so I'll use a synonym.
Yeah,
so a very important player for OpTic Gaming on the CT side. Now map point situation, and Temple Storm have no money to work with. They went for that timeout. They spent their whole economy to try to work towards the outside, and it got completely shut down by OpTic Gaming with another flawless victory. Now at this point, they're going to have to try to go for a Tech-9 rush. They do have a lot of mollies to work with, though. So at this point, you're probably going to see this execution first with the smokes, try to get that bomb plant, and then throw those mollies right after to try to run that time down to prevent right now OpTic Gaming to go on any type of diffuse or any type of push-outs from Z or from Ivy.
So much information for NAF.
Yeah.
The fact that he's posted towards Brown Halls and hasn't seen a damn thing. Tempo, they're going to flash down ladder, but this is more than telegraphed with the position of NAF. So OpTic Gaming more than prepared here. They just got to win the gunfights. And, well, it's Tech-9 versus Rifles. You would think it would go the way of OpTic. We'll see if Tempo, can they get it done here? They have the bomb plant, but 2 on 5. OpTic looking to close.
Yeah, this is pretty much it. Showtime's going to be the last man standing. Picked off there. So they're going to come in for the defuse, and it is going to be 16-7 in favor of OpTic Gaming in this first map. What a play by OpTic Gaming. Man, was that good. I mean, even when you looked at that last round, we mentioned it. I mean, they had to throw those smokes to try to get a bomb plant. They tried to throw the mollies right after, but you saw that they were a little bit off because you heard some of the mollies actually went off inside the smoke. So it wasn't as effective for them to try to move out. And Daps was actually on that bomb train pretty much the whole round. Yeah. And then finally, the time that he decides to move out when that molly actually landed, the smokes already started to dissipate. So they executed it, but for Temple Storm, but just a little bit too slow. And at the end of the day, it's going to be OpTic Gaming. Easy CT side there on train, not losing, not dropping a single round, and the amount of rounds that they had with submachine guns, that was just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. They were able to build such an economic or financial advantage there, just simply due to the fact that they were able to make use of MP9s, and that's something that, again, each map kind of has specific scenarios where you can make those weapons work, and credit to Rush. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that highlight is just an insane quad kill, and then he picks up an op. Like, it's not only that he got all that money, he also gets a weapon that's worth $47.50. So, like, that is just so incredibly impactful from Rush specifically, and that was kind of the tail of the tape for the map. And I honestly thought if OpTic was going to take this map, it would at least be close. And credit to OpTic, they really showed up. And moving into the next map, I would still favor Tempo on their map choice, but now I don't know, right? Like now, we'll see.
Even when Garrett actually said it's going to be OpTic Gaming and it's going to win this, it was not a gut feeling or him knowing that OpTic Gaming was going to win. It's going to be like, I'm just going to have to go with the Canadians because I'm Canadian and would have to support them. He actually, at the same time as GB James, knew deep down inside that OpTic Gaming didn't really have a chance into this map. But look at how good they were. How good they were. Now this actually sets a tone for you into the next map.
Yep.
How well they've been playing so far on train. Will they actually be able to overpower Temple Storm on a map like Cobble? I mean, when you're talking about in Showtime's interview, they expected to have this upper bracket finals. They were expected to play OpTic Gaming.
Yep.
This was how the minor was going to run out.
Yep.
So at the same time, on OpTic Gaming side, they probably thought the same thing. So they said, you know what? We're probably going to have to play Tempo Storm on Cobble, and we'll have to find out if they're actually prepared enough to actually overtake that second map.
Yep.
But to actually break down the first map a little bit more, we're going to send it back to the desk with Puckett, Garrett, and also GB James.
All right, thank you, fellas. Solid cast from the Canadians there, and a Canadian win here for OpTic Gaming. You got it right. You had some confidence in the boys, and for the first time, I feel like we've seen Train played properly by OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, I knew they had a chance to win. I didn't think they were going to win like this. I don't think any of us thought they were going to win like this. But you know what? Again, they showed that when they played Selfless on, we both liked how they were taking their T side and how they were approaching their T side on the map, and they just brought that exact kind of style over into this match, and they executed it perfectly. The timing, everything was great. They got all the entries. They got so many times they had entries, and they converted most of the rounds, which is what's the important thing. It's getting the entry is great, but to convert it is the most important thing, and they did an excellent job of doing that.
I totally forgot about the 16-1 that they laid on Selfless earlier in this tournament. So 2 very solid performances from OpTic Gaming on this map. James, I know we were talking about some of the highlights from this one. One of the first that we're going to look at is the second pistol round. This is, of course, round 16 in the map, and this was a really big one-on-one battle at the end. What kind of went down? Actually, production is going to take a minute to get this one loaded up, but let's talk about the first half while we're waiting on that.
I'll take that then. So I've been harping on it all the last couple days. Don't force buy. Oh, here we go.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention about, this is something that a lot of teams need to improve on doing, and OpTic did a great job. Before the bomb was planted in this round, all these 3 players were separated severely, and they weren't around each other to be able to trade. They almost lost this, and they came down to a 2-on-1, but my point of the idea was they actually regrouped, and they went to the back side of the trains together in order to retake the site. And that idea is what I want to see more of, especially in the NACS, which you don't see enough of. Although it was it came down to the wire, and Das was able to, Mixwell was able to pull it out. It's just the fundamentals of you're up men, the bomb came down. If you're all separated, if you have the time, it's a 40-second bomb timer. Group up and use your men in numbers to take over.
It worked out for OpTic Gaming. Sorry about that in production, but let's keep it rolling. So you wanted to talk about the first half.
Yeah,
hit it real quick before we dive deep in the second side.
It's just to appreciate OpTic played great. Tempo Storm played a little bit sloppy, arrogant in the sense that they're like, okay, we lost pistol, let's force buy, we got this. It's OpTic. We're a top 10 team in the world. They lose it. Save. 4th gun round, they had no kits, no utility, and you need that to stop an IV entry, ladder hit, and that's what happened. They started to lose, they got low, they forced bite a couple times. It just didn't work out for them. You could see on their faces in the match, you could see when they paused, you saw Phelps and you saw Bolts. You could see the pressure on their faces. Mm-hmm. Peacemaker's not there anymore to make him feel good. I know Dead's a good support, but I believe not having Peacemaker there, both of those players, Bolts went -12 in that match, and Phelps went -11. Phelps is the young player, the star talent, the person that might feel the most pressure on him, and then Bolts is going to feel because he's the one trying to tell everybody what to do. And I think he needed more support.
I would love at the end of this, if Tempo Storm decide or will go on to win this, I'd love to ask in the interview, how confident were you coming into train? And if OpTic wins, I'd love to hear from OpTic. Did you pick this train because it was a great map for you, or did you pick this because you saw weaknesses in their game? Because they watched Tempo Storm in London, and even though Tempo ended up winning the game, they let their opponent come all the way back from 14-1 to make it 16-14 at the very end. So a strong start here for OpTic Gaming. I know there's a few other things, especially in the second half, that you want to hit here, Garrett. What were some of the big moments for OpTic?
Well, the really big thing I liked about OpTic is what on the we talked a lot about them the buys in the second round with the SMGs and not buying P90s and stuff like that. But they did a great job of they got the SMGs, they got all the kills with SMGs to basically gain that economy and build it. Mm-hmm. And then when it came to the gun rounds, they kept it, which is it's risky to keep 2. You usually can keep 1, but they kept 2.
But they played close with them.
But that's the thing. Yeah. They know how to play with it. Rush played all the way up in the ladder room. So if you're gonna take a fight, you gotta take a close-quartered fight. I think Naf got picked at Ivy. He tried the same
lucky
kind
shot
of idea.
Here. Great shot. Lucky shot, though. That's a long shot for that gun.
That is unlikely to ever happen at that distance. But you know what? He did a fantastic job and won this round. And with that, their economy went even skyrocketed on that. And then you have that momentum to just carry on and just wipe a team off the floor.
Rush was the top fragger, and that was definitely the highlight of the game. The 3K, and then picks up the 4K, and that was where the momentum turned fully in OpTic's favor, and they were able to close it out. But we do have a little bit of a highlight reel for you guys. Some of the best clips from just game number 1. Remember, this match will decide who is moving on to the major qualifier, and both teams looking pretty strong at the start. Tempo, they started down 0-4, but brought it back in round 5, and then it was just OpTic in the second half closing things down. But After this short sample, guys, what was your takeaway from game number 1? What should we be looking forward to coming into games 2 and then potentially game 3 if it gets there?
So I really like on CT side, OpTic feels so confident and calm in what they do. You just watch their faces. They weren't ever really even pressured in this game. I feel, and in the last couple CT sides, if you remember on Mirage last night, they came back and they wouldn't be here at this position if they didn't streamline and win all of their CT side rounds. Again, they did it on Train, and again they did it on Train. So it's their CT sides are really holding them together. I think that it's not long if they keep playing like this, they're going to be North America's #1 team.
You said that on day 1. Day 2, that looks super sketchy with TSM taking them the distance.
Yeah.
But today, OpTic is back. But keep in mind, that was OpTic's map pick. When we return, we're going to be seeing game number 2. We're going to Cobblestone, one of Tempo's favorite.